Could you give us a little background on living in Salt Lake City? What is it like? The people there, the community, the religion?
Mhm. Salt Lake City is wonderful, and it's complicated to look back on because my early childhood was so full of light and energy and hopeful and magical. But I remember a distinct shift as I got older where other parts of myself started to develop. You know, not just my sexuality, but my interests, my hobbies, my sense of humor, my identity. And so, what I had to start doing was fragmenting myself. And I would find different safe spaces for each fragment. So, I had the fragment of me that was in church, that was, you know, a traditional, good white kid from the suburbs. And then I would have the other part, which is locking myself in the bathroom and trying on my sister's prom dresses and buying Party City wigs with money I stole from my mom and practicing makeup.
How old were you when you first saw Drag
I was
Race?
probably about 13, 14. I found season 6 of Drag Race, and it felt, I didn't understand that there were people like me. And so when I saw the sense of humor and when I saw this creativity and this energy and this light and this art form, I didn't feel as alone. And drag queens really raised me just from my bedroom on YouTube.
Did you want to discuss the Ulta story as well? I mean, you were going through all that, but you still had outlets in your own way to make up for just the horrible shit that you've gone through.
Yeah, I love this story, and I think of this when I think of my childhood self. I think this is one of my fondest memories. It was freezing cold Utah winter, just blizzard, and I would steal $20 from my mom's purse, and I would put in my earbuds, my cheap little earbuds, and I would listen to music and walk about a mile and a half to Ulta. So excited. And I would get an eyeshadow palette and I'd walk all the way back, trench through the snow, and I would put it under my coat so that my mom couldn't see me when I walked in. And I would instantly run upstairs, turn on the shower, and lock the door. And at first, I wouldn't even put it on, I would just touch it and put it on my hand. And I had so much joy with even being alone and discovering myself. I had so much joy going on that journey of discovery.
Who is she as a performer?
I have a very distinct goal when it comes to performing. My intention in drag is to present as something the audience understands. Oh, it's just another pretty girl who looks good, who looks like a woman, whatever. And then I want to subvert that expectation with my performance and give something uncomfortable, unexpected, hopefully something that people will think about after. That'll take a while to process. And I think delivering that polarizing, controversial performance in like a beautiful package is so good.
How is she different from the drag queens in Phoenix, Arizona?
Oh, let me tell you, there is no one like Ketamine in at least this state. I will never step on stage without a concept and without a story. Even if I'm doing a number that is just entertainment value and distraction, there will always be a prop, some type of antic, or some story. And I think there's such a specific mold of a drag queen now that with Drag Race, drag has gone mainstream. And so there is this mold of a queen who can dance the house down, who looks great, who can do the splits, who can do the death drop, and everyone just goes, yes, she gets her ones and she leaves. That's almost every queen here. Or you're a clown. Those are the only two types of drag here. There's clown drag and there's pretty drag. And so I get to have this niche where I can show that I could do that other stuff if I wanted to, but I can kind of surprise the audience and be unique in that way.
So, what's the inspiration for this record that you're coming out with? Well, actually, what's the genre of music you're making in Ableton? Let's talk about that. And then the inspiration for this record.
The genre I most take to in Ableton is experimental electronic music. So think cats in a blender, pots and pans, screams from hell, whatever weird thing I can put in. There's a genre called IDM, if you know the artists, Aphex Twin, Arca, Bjork. I would say those are my biggest inspirations. And I am interested in pursuing a musical experience that I haven't heard before. Again, I love to challenge people. I love confrontation. However, this record is inspired by the party scene. So it sort of goes through different subgenres of electronic music, and it is much more mainstream and palatable. So I think people will enjoy it more than my other work.
What's this record called?
So my record that I will be releasing this year, it could be probably beginning of 2026, is titled Ketamine. It's a self-titled record. And I would say this might be the thing I'm most proud of. The inspiration for the record, back in May, I was roofied and gang raped and had to pull out of school. I went off the grid, and it was a very difficult time, as one can imagine. And this record was written entirely in a month, right after that incident. And I am so proud of it because it's given that pain a purpose. Even if if people hate it and it sucks, it gave that suffering meaning. And I think that's why I love it so much.
And then, how do you hope people feel when they watch this documentary about your journey and listening to everything that you shared? I mean, it's very personal.
When people watch this documentary, I hope they feel less alone. I think life is really hard, even without the trauma, even when everything is going well and you have friends and you have enough money and things like that. Life still really sucks. And I don't think people talk about that. And I mean, if the person watching this is sitting at home and just generally disconnected and discontent and dissatisfied with life, I think that's a very normal thing. I don't think that's wrong, and I think almost everyone feels it.